Shabbat Shalom.
Good Shabbos.
For the Southerners. Shabbat Shalom, y'all. There you go. Said like a true Reformed Jew. There you go. Amen. This morning's Torah portion is Vayishlach. Y'all say that? And it means he sent. And we get this out of Genesis 32. It's the beginning of this parsha. But I wanted to highlight a line that we see between Jacob himself and Yeshua. A lot of people, they don't make the parallels there, but there is a parallel there. But before I get into that, the sages, they point out a very interesting point in Genesis 32, and they say Jacob was greatly afraid and he was distressed. He was afraid and distressed that he might be killed. And Jacob went ahead and bowed himself to the ground 7 times until he came near to his brother whom he had wronged. On the other hand, Mordecai refused to bow. Mordecai refused to bow. Haman went on to say, "How dare you stand against me?" Mordecai said, "I am a Jew." He said, this very simple thing to simply say, "I am a man of faith, and I will stand upon my faith. Yes, I will make right with my brother, but I am a man of faith." That means we're going to get into the parallel of Jacob and Yeshua right now. See, this season that we're entering into is we're coming into the Festival of Lights. And where some might depict how great the victory in the battle was. Ultimately, as children of God, this is not our strength. This is not our strength. And though we may be great architects and great warriors this is not our strength. Our strength is in God alone.
Amen.
Our strength is in, like that Hanukkah, letting that light shine in the darkness, lighting up the night itself with the goodness of God. Yeshua said that we should take up our burden and follow him.
Amen.
God sent Jacob on a journey. And in his mind's eye, at first, Jacob had this thought that he was going to just show up at Laban's and it was all going to be easy. It was going to be a cakewalk. You just show up, pick up his bride, and they'd ride off to the Bahamas, and they'd be good to go. Hashem didn't tell him about the 14 years of labor that it would take. He didn't tell him about the journey that it would take from Laban's to the promised land that he would take him to. And the trials and testing that it would take all throughout that expedition. That wasn't highlighted. God promised, if you stay faithful,
Amen.
if you stay obedient, I will bless your obedience. I will bless your faithfulness. He didn't say, come into the kingdom and you're going to have sugar sprinkled on you every day of your life. He said, I will bless your faithfulness. Yeshua said it a little different though, right? In the Christian context, they say, take up your cross. In the Messianic context, we say, take up your challenge. Take up your stake. Take it up. journey that God has sent you on. Running from it here and there because it gets challenging. Because He puts you to work for Laban. Work faithfully, obediently wherever He places you.
Amen.
So the question is, if you are really a disciple of God, a child of God, where is your challenge? Where is your stake? Where is your cross? Where is your struggle? And where is your perseverance and your faithfulness in it? I hope y'all didn't think I was going to have y'all sing Kumbaya this morning.
Shucks.
For some people, we like to pretend. We come into the kingdom of God and we pretend that everything is just like the televangelism that we see every day on the screen. If you put this thing here on your door front, yes, He's just going to open the doors, and you're going to have more bread in your pantry than you can hold or contain. What is greater, sacrifice or obedience? What is greater, the sacrifice or the obedience?
Obedience.
But they're the same thing. They're the same thing. Because you will sacrifice, you will die unto your flesh to follow God. You will die unto your flesh to follow God. And whatever your challenge is, whatever your stake is, whatever your cross is, that is the thing that causes your flesh to die. Oh, quiet this morning. Ain't nobody going to say amen to that.
Amen. Doesn't sound very good.
I mean, we pretend a lot, right? Come to the Lord. You're going to be rich in the worldly context. Come to the Lord. He will give you the perfect spouse who will perfectly submit to you in your understanding of what that means. We pretend. We pretend. We pretend. This isn't the message that Yeshua gave.
Amen. That's right.
This is not the message that He said when He gave it from the mount. This is not the message that He said when He spoke at the end of Sabbath. This is not the message that He gave. He spoke a message of truth, of love, without any sugar coating.
Amen.
Amen.
Amen. Thank you, Lord.
There were no artificial flavors or other things in what He gave. He gave the perspective of God's truth
Yes, amen.
with sincerity and hesed. I know some of you out here are going to say, well, Rabbi, you did say He said this without any sugar coating, but with hesed, love, and kindness. Amen? God never told Israel that, hey, come on to Laban, and you're going to have the wife of your dreams with no work involved. There is sacrifice.
Amen.
There is sacrifice. And some people may say, well, I give my 10% of my time, my talent, and my tithe to God already. That's my sacrifice. No, that's His. That is His already.
Amen.
That is His, period. Your sacrifice is what you do beyond that.
Amen.
That's when you go the extra.
Amen. Amen.
That's when you go across town to teach at a place, even if you got to take the bus. That's following God no matter where He sends you to.
Amen.
And doing exactly what He has appointed you to do. And nothing beyond. You know why you don't see me on the band? Because He didn't anoint me to do that. And it's a blessing for y'all that He didn't.
Count your blessings. Y'all.
But
Amen.
these things, these false narratives that people press on TV and everywhere else, that this is not the message of Messiah.
No, it's not.
He said, die unto yourself. In other words, put God first.
Amen.
If you've been placed in a marriage you're not happy with, you know what? Be faithful in that marriage that God has placed you in. And watch as He blesses your faithfulness.
Amen, amen.
If He has placed you with maybe people in your life that you're not that thrilled with, be faithful. Understand that that too is there to help bring about the chastisement of your flesh. Not that you should go on and give into it. Well, it's what's going on in my neighborhood. I mean, he did park me right next to the Amalekites. I might as well go ahead and act like the Amalekites. I might as well go ahead and just start doing what the worshipers of Peor do. Then don't call yourself a child of God.
Amen. Amen.
Yeshua was obedient unto death. Unto death. In the very face of death, He was obedient. And His sacrifice, you and I all receive fully and freely.
Amen.
And yet He says to us, if you are going to follow me, if you are going to follow me, you too must embrace your state. You must embrace your challenges. You must embrace your sacrifice. And be faithful to me in it.
Amen.
It's so easy to get over on one side or the other of things. And honestly, following Messiah is right there in the center lane. It's right there. The Torah is a clear path of it. And sometimes we don't see it because we want to overcomplicate things because this is the way he's doing it, that's the way she's doing it. And you know what? You're not called to be he or she. If you were called to be somebody else, you would be. But you are on the path that God has destined for you. So be faithful in it and embrace what He has called you to do.
Amen.
In Nehemiah, he says it this way. And I'm going to read the last portion of 8 verse 10. This is a sacredness before God. Do not be dejected and sad. For the joy of the Lord is your strength.
Amen.
So we embrace the sacrifice. We embrace the journey, the stake, with all joy and certainty. Because He is our God and our King. He is our provision, our shield, our strong tower. Joe says it. I'm sorry, I'm going to get ahead of myself. Do you need a water? Do you need a water? Whoever that is coffee, do you need a water? Okay. I have one right here. Okay. Here. Zelie, give her this. Oh, there you go. That was already. have one water back here, sister. Sorry. I'll make sure they put more. Do not be dejected and sad. Oh, he's called me to do this. Oh, the challenges. Kvetching, complaining. You make no progress doing this. Yeshua said, out of the abundance of the heart, the
Mouth speaks.
Mouth speaks.
Paul says, train your mouth, right? Train your mouth. Speak blessing, speak goodness, and watch as it begins to grow in your life. Be obedient. Sacrifice. Embrace it. Really quick, off topic, but it is related. Tony, how long did it take you to get your 10th degree?
50-something years.
That is a lot of sacrifice. And we want to be children of God. Better yet, we want to be children of God, and we want God just to drop all of our blessings at once. Just dump them all in my life right now. And you're obedient to what?
Yeah, that's the question. Yes, that's the big question.
You're obedient to what? You want all the blessings under heaven, and you're obedient to what?
That's right.
Most people are obedient to themselves.
You're obedient to
Flesh.
Nobody.
you're sacrificing what? You're persevering through what? Wait. But Yeshua sacrificed. Yeshua persevered. Yeshua was obedient unto death. And yet we just give it all, Lord, let me do it my way. That's not Yeshua's message.
Amen.
That's not the message of Torah at all, at all.
Amen.
There's somebody out there teaching that's off, way off. You might as well work for Disneyland. I hear Dr. Seuss is hiring. God honors obedience and sacrifice. He honors obedience and sacrifice. I can say it with our lives personally. I can say it with all the people that I've witnessed that they go through and they persevere and they sacrifice. And you see God steadily move them up and continue to grow those around them. I can't get to the synagogue. I don't have. Get there. Get there. See that God doesn't help provide for you. I don't have the money for all my bills. How about you do your bit unto God, and He will make sure that you are provided. But we have the clock, we have the scale opposite. We're relying on worldly sources for heavenly blessings. Instead of relying on heavenly blessings and putting into heavenly things.
Amen.
We have it backwards. Job says it this way in 13 and 15, though he slay me, yet I will trust in him. And even so, I will defend the ways of him before me. I will defend my walk with God. People are going to say things. Why are you a child of God? What has it gotten you? Salvation. Blessed assurance. And the certainty that whatever I put into the kingdom of God, I will see returned unto me sevenfold. It is obedience. It is consistency. It is walking with Messiah during the challenges. It is praising Elohim during the challenges. It is praising Elohim during the challenges. It is giving unto yourself even when there's nothing there. It's loving when you don't feel like it. It's blessing when you don't have. The story of the widow and Elijah the prophet, she didn't have. All she had was her and her kid. So that she didn't have anything else. She even told him, look, I ain't got nothing for you. This is for me and my baby. And she gave beyond. And you read the story, and it almost paints Elijah in a bad light, right? Because he's like, he eats it all. That was good, I'm gone. But he blesses her. The Lord instructs him to bless her. To bless her. Her sacrifice, her obedience to that prophet, to the word that God had given through that prophet. I say these things because I truly, and I know Iska truly wants each and every one of you to have this blessed life that you picture. But you have to give of yourself. You have to be obedient to Him. Even when you don't feel like it. Remaining faithful anyway. Because that's what He has called you to do. God's kingdom is not like San Antonio weather news. It doesn't change in random and sporadic times. But God's kingdom is consistency. It's devotion. It's consistency. It's being who you are in His kingdom.
Amen.
For some of you, the challenge, again, I said, is the marriage. You feel unloved. Perhaps some have a child that is challenging to love. But yet you show up day in and day out, sacrificing of your life for that child, for that marriage, for that relationship, for that ministry, for that, and you stay faithful, you stay obedient, and you sacrifice of your time, of your person, not in a begrudging way, as the prophet said, right? Not with sadness and grief, but with joy, because joy is the strength of the Lord. So we continue to press on in this manner over and over again, continuously, as Yeshua demonstrated for us, even unto His death. Keep in mind, Yeshua just didn't, okay, here, take me. Because they had first attempted to come and they almost tried to rush and take Him, and the Besorah, the good news records that the first couple guys fell down dead. Because the living Word of God is not going to be manhandled.
Amen.
It is not going to be manhandled. Our salvation is not going to be manhandled. We receive salvation because we are faithful, because we are obedient, because He gave it freely. Not that we should try and strong-arm it into our understanding of things. We receive salvation, we receive the blessing. And He says, be obedient. Die unto yourself. Sacrifice. 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 And you will see Him honor your sacrifices. There is a couple, and I'm not going to say who they are, but they stayed obedient to God. They stayed obedient to God. They stayed obedient to God year after year after year after year. And God moved them up out of their relatives' homes into their own home, and He continued to bless them. Even though they struggle, even though they continue to struggle, and He continues to bless them and be with them because He honors the obedience. He honors the sacrifice. So what are you giving up for God? Where is your cross? Where is your stake? Where is your challenge? Because I see people come in and they have the whole let's play church today, but where is your challenge? It has to be a thing that is real and relevant in your life, and that in it, you are still honoring God through it. So learn that Jacob, Israel, he is faithful throughout the 14 years that he had to work. He is faithful and obedient to God. And when he moves on beyond that, he is still faithful and obedient to God. He remains faithful and obedient to God. Yeshua remained faithful and obedient to God. Job remained faithful and obedient to God. So you must take up the challenge, my brothers, my sisters. Take up your challenge. Take up your challenge. Stop complaining about your challenge. Name one time that Yeshua complained about going to his death. Name one time. He did, in fact, ask about it, right? In the garden, he said, hey, if this can, but if this is your will, I'll do it. Isaac being led to Mount Moriah by Abraham didn't complain. He went faithfully, willing to be the sacrifice. Willing to be the sacrifice. Where is your sacrifice? Or is your faith a thing of convenience? For some, for all really. If your faith is a thing of convenience, don't ask God for your crown. Don't ask Him for your Lord, give me an increase. I need a... What have you done? Where is your faithfulness? Where's your obedience? For some people in some of the states that they're in, they're there because they do the bare minimum. They try and make it like they give God what's His already. I give my 10% of my time. That's His. That's His. A while back, one of my sons, I lent him the car, and he comes back here's your car. I put a little gas in it. It's my car. You should put gas in it. You're not doing me a great favor by bringing me back my car.
Empty.
What is your dedication to the kingdom? He lets us run around all over, and most of the time we're like chickens without heads. Clucking here, clucking there. And there's no worship to God. There's no sacrifice, even in our mundane lives. I'm going to close with this, and here's a thought for you. After Esau's death, his descendants could never establish a monarchy, but had to constantly invade different kingdoms and different countries to have anything. Constant, all throughout history. You could trace it if you want to, it's there. All throughout history, Esau's descendants could never have of their own. Because they were only interested in their own desires. They sacrificed unto themselves, not unto God. They obeyed unto themselves, not unto God. Every time Israel stopped being obedient to God, they lost their kingdom. You see a pattern yet? Do you see a pattern yet? Do you see a pattern?
Yep.
Our obedience, our consistency brings about blessing. Even when we don't feel like it, we remain obedient and consistent. Because it's not about us. It's about Him. It's about His kingdom. And making earth a place that heaven should dwell. So, I pray that each and every one of you this morning, and let us pray for our Torah and the Ark. They both need repair. Specifically the Torah covering and its belt. But I pray that each and every one of you